You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas Podcast with Jessica Raziri
and Sonia Tapley. This episode is going to be a geriatric happy hour about a variety of topics, including priceless parenting advice from a grieving mom, Kallie Wright, a man who refuses to swap seats with a pregnant woman is being backed for his decision on social media, a bride who surprises her Matron-of-Honor who's just given birth on her wedding day, and how in the world did Mindy Kaling, 45, have her third baby without anyone knowing? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah. We love her.
A whole surprise baby on us.
A whole entire one.
A whole entire child. Hey mamas, are you someone who's 35 plus and struggled with fertility, endured a miscarriage, experienced heartbreaking fostering or adoption challenges, or were perhaps flat out told by a doctor that you will never conceive naturally, and despite the odds, eventually found your happy ending by becoming a mama?
Send us your story at geriatricmamas.com. We would love to feature your journey to motherhood on a future Geriatric Mamas episode. It's like no matter what, they wake up with the sun. It's like they can go to sleep at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. It doesn't matter. They wake up when the sun comes out in the morning. They know when it's time to wake up. Bedtime is all full of FOMO.
I have blackout curtains in his room. I do everything possible to ensure that it's as dark as possible so he has no concept of time. So like you just need to sleep.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't matter.
Warning to those mamas who are not mamas quite yet, or they don't have their baby in their arms yet, might be pregnant. If someone says it's okay if they skip their bedtime, they'll sleep in the morning. They won't. They won't. No.
Even Hayden, who's the passionate sleeper that he is, it does not matter. And like he will naturally sleep in. And when we say sleep in, we're not talking like, circa Jessica and Sonia, circa 20 years old, like sleeping till noon. We're talking like, like the latest he slept is 9:30. That's actually really late. But like we're talking like 8:30 is like his sleep in.
Yeah.
So, but usually he's up anywhere between like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I know. Annabelle was up until almost 11 last night because I think she got that overtired, like extra boost of energy because we kept her awake the whole way home after going bowling with the family. And she was like shutting her eyes and we're like, oh no, if she falls asleep and takes a nap right now, then we're going to be up all night and we can't do that. And so we kept her awake and she wasn't happy about it. She was definitely like, but I want to go to sleep. And then we got home and she was like, can I go to sleep now? And it was still only like 5:50 p.m. And Mike's like, no. And he even took her for a walk in the rain because she wanted to go in the puddles. And he was like, fine, you know what? We'll go in the puddles if that means you're going to stay awake. And so they went for a walk in the rain while I cleaned up the apartment. And they got back and she was just full on wired and she didn't end up falling asleep until 10:30 p.m. Mike and I were both struggling at that point to keep our eyes open. And it sucks because I really like to wind down at night with Southern Charm, but it's just like it was like unclear if that was going to happen. And then then she fell asleep at 10:30 and I luckily got a second wind and Mike's like, okay, like 5 minutes because he was exhausted. So we watched Southern Charm for a few minutes and then this morning I was like, am I dreaming right now? I hear, mommy, where's daddy? And I like look at the time. It's 6:45 in the morning. And yeah, no, Mike was downstairs because he was like snoring really loud last night. So Mike was downstairs and I'm like, Mike, and I hear, and I'm like, he's like, and I'm like, Annabelle's calling to you, and he's like, okay. 5 minutes go by, and Annabelle's like, mommy, where is daddy? And I'm like, Mike. He's like, I'm coming. And then he got back upstairs and like his eyes instantly closed and he like starts snoring and Annabelle was so mad. She started like trying to hit him in the face with her passy and like all that, and he was like, honey. So I was like,
you don't have curtains in your room, do you?
We just have the blinds.
Oh, okay, but you have blinds. You have something on your window. So it's not like it's like bright. Like super bright. Okay.
No, she
so
just
think
knows.
about your last house where you didn't have like anything.
Her circadian rhythm is on point. She knows. That
Like, she's
girl.
like, you can't trick me.
Right. She can smell the sunshine. She can smell it.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Oh, she literally said, Daddy, you can't sleep. The sun is out. It's time to be awake. And I was like, oh my God.
You know that scene in Frozen? We've been on a Frozen kick. Gam Gam introduced it to Hayden. He's like obsessed because he loves the pretty girls. The opening scene of Frozen 1, and she's trying to wake up her sister Elsa. She's like, wake up, the sun's awake, so I'm awake, or something like that. Or she's like, the moon's awake, so I'm awake. I don't remember what it was, but that's literally Annabelle.
It's literally Annabelle, and she got it from me, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? You've never slept in. That's Kate. I'm thinking of Kate. Kate and I used to sleep the fuck in.
Yeah.
You have always been an early riser.
I wake with the sun.
Even when we would like be out like drinking and up of all hours, you would be like literally like clockwork the next morning.
I get anxiety if it like if I'm like dead to the world and I don't go to bed until like 2 a.m. or whatever, I can sleep until 10 a.m. But other than that, I have straight anxiety if I'm not awake, like doing something. I don't know where I get that from, but
your mom.
Yeah, my mom, my grandmother, the McClellan side.
Your whole family. That's where you get
the
it from.
McClellan side. Yeah.
I have no idea. Where I got that from.
My cousin Nate was at my grandmother's house the other day when I went to pick Annabelle up, and the entire living room was just like destroyed. Like there were toys, Play-Doh, sand everywhere, all over the living room because she has that kinetic sand or whatever. There was just stuff everywhere. I was like, did you get up to camp last week? And he was like, yeah, I had to go. My dad wanted me to bring the lawnmower up and mow the lawn, and he dropped the lawnmower off at our house like a couple weeks ago, and he keeps texting me, today looks like a great day to go to camp. Every day he texts me, today looks like a great day to go to camp. And I'm like, oh my God, it sounds like a McClellan. It sounds like a McClellan. And that is exactly where I get this from. It's like, and I even worked for my uncle for a little while, and he would like
that.
He would stop at my grandmother's house and wake me up at certain times, like just to be like, can you go to the office now? And I'm like, sure, I'm on my way.
Absolutely not. Hell no. Hell the fuck no. The first time somebody were to do that to me, I'd be like, I quit.
Yeah.
Get out of my room.
It's just
absolutely
the way my mother's family, I don't know if they get it from my grandmother or my grandfather, but that's just where
I mean, it's a good quality because like you're punctual, you get shit done. You're not lazy. I mean, it's a good quality for sure. I'm just sitting here wondering, like, how are we like such BFFs? Because I feel like in comparison, I'm like so lazy compared to you.
You're not lazy. Holy shit.
But like my personality type, like
you're more laid back. You're slightly more laid back.
Sloth, for sure. And you were designed to be like a gazelle.
Not anymore. Not in my 40s, which is probably
everybody's a sloth in their 40s. Like, let's face it.
Maybe, I mean, that's why this podcast has worked out really well, because I feel like you're still like you're fully charged. I feel like you're still running, like you're the Energizer right now, and I'm just like slowing down, so we've kind of like evened out a little bit.
Well, it's like we're doing all this stuff with the house, and like we don't get to keep it, so it like sucks because I'm doing all this stuff that I'm like, oh, it's so cute, and then I'm like, well, I don't know, there's a part of me that's like, maybe there's a way, but it's like, no, like we just need to let it go and let it go.
Right. You're gonna
we just need to let it go.
There's a reason. You guys are gonna end up finding something that you love, and you're gonna be really excited about it. So you'll have more space. Maybe that will be the saving grace to it, is that you'll have more space when in your new place. Yeah.
It's funny. So our realtor, Tiffany, recommended her to us. She's awesome. So she looked at our gym, our little home gym that we have that had like literally like a layer of dust on everything because like, let's be real. And she just looks at it. And so we painted the walls. I painted the walls black in there and we had like all mood lighting, because I'm like, listen, there's mirrors on the walls. I don't want to be like in bright and center with spotlights on me, seeing everything jiggling as I'm working out. Like I want it to be like dim. I want like peace. I want serenity as I'm sweating my ass off and looking like a nasty red pig. So she's looking at the black walls and like the layer of the dust on all over like the exercise equipment. And she's just like, and she like looks at the other rooms and she's like, nobody really wants a home gym. She's like, it's a good idea, but nobody really uses a home gym. And we're like, what do you mean? As I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at like everything covered in dust. We're like, well, I guess it's true. And she's like, because like we're in a family neighborhood. We're right next to a school, and so she suggested turning that into a playroom.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, you have this adorable nursery here. You have like all the bedrooms. It's a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. So it's definitely, but the thing is like the rooms are really tiny. Like they packed those rooms in the 90s. Like today, if they were to build this house, they probably would have made it like a 3-bedroom. Like truly 3-bedroom would have made more sense because the rooms are like so small. So she's like, you have this adorable little nursery. She's like, and then across the hall, you have this like gym that clearly isn't being used. And you don't want somebody like, even though it's like they can like turn that room into something else, a lot of people that look at houses don't really have an imagination. And they'll probably be like, well, I'm not going to use a gym. And it's like, then don't make it a fucking gym. But they don't think that way. So you have to like, show them and create the story. And so she's like, what if you turn it into like a kid's playroom? And we're like, okay. And I was like, so obviously we'll need to like change the walls because they're black and like a kid's playroom is not going to be black. And she's like, well, maybe what you can do is just take down the mirrors and then why don't you get like wall art that has like bright primary colors, and then you can get like a big rug with like reds, greens, blues, yellows. And Adam's just looking at me, and I swear I developed like a nervous tick because like if anybody in my house or understands my aesthetic, primary colors are not a thing. Like that has no room for what I have going on here. And I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah, that sounds great. And so she's like listing off all this stuff that we could do with these like bright, loud colors, and just put Hayden's toys in there. And I'm just like, oh yeah, absolutely. Needless to say, we're not doing that. I definitely went ahead and painted the entire room. It's like a really pretty, like light creamy beige color. Not really beige, it's more like a light creamy tan color. And then I framed like these big prints of like baby woodland animals, and we have like, it's like a sticky chalkboard thing that's going to go up on one of the walls, and Adam's going to build a little frame around it. And I have this, it's in the closet, but there's like this like bookshelf that can either be like, it's not really a book, it's like one of those square cubby things, and you can either like put it up straight or lay it on its side. I'm going to lay it on its side and turn it into like a makeshift kind of bench kind of thing. I'm going to put pillows on top of it, and then obviously his toys inside of it. And so, and then we got this rug that has like faux like antelope or like deer like print on it or whatever. So needless to say, I zhuzhed it up the way that I do it. It is not going to be primary colors, but now I'm in love with it because I'm like, well, this is kind of cute. I like just want to keep this.
We might actually use this room.
Yeah. Now I'm just like, well, okay. Now my second favorite room in this house.
Are you just putting all the gym stuff in the basement? Like, where are you?
No,
putting
we have
it?
A storage unit. So Adam shipped all that over to the storage unit. And yeah, the elliptical was so freaking heavy. I remember when we ordered this thing, I ordered it before we got married, and we had to take it apart and bring it upstairs in pieces. And I remember as we were bringing it upstairs, we're like, whoever buys this house is buying this elliptical.
Yeah.
And then it's like fast forward 6 years later, we're fucking hauling it downstairs.
Yeah.
Like, damn it.
That's awful.
Here we are.
I would hate to have to carry something like that downstairs.
It was awful. We had to go step by step. Adam's like, and one more. And I was on the top of it. I'm like, and he's like on the bottom of it. It was just like, it was so bad.
Oh, God.
Well, should we get into it?
Yes, as I take a sip of my watermelon margarita.
Oh my God, we're both drinking watermelon. Okay, so I think that's enough babble for now. For now. Well, there'll probably be more babble because we're both partaking in some alcoholic beverages.
This is a geriatric happy hour.
It is a geriatric happy hour. So we are going to be talking about a variety of topics, including priceless parenting advice from grieving mom, Kallie Wright. A man who refused to swap seats with a pregnant woman is being backed for his decisions on social media. A bride who surprised her matron-of-honor, who's just given birth on her wedding day. And how in the world did Mindy Kaling, 45, have her third baby without anyone knowing? Like, she literally kept that top secret.
For like months.
Months. Nobody knew. God, that's
The baby's been here. The baby's like 5 now. No, just kidding.
Yeah. He's he's in college.
So good. Yeah, so this first topic, it's kind of heavy, but it's so like worth it just like reading this article. I had seen something about it a couple weeks ago and I had to like click out because I can never ever ever handle it when a toddler or a baby passes away. Like it's such a huge trigger for me. I just like start instantly bawling. Yeah, it's just unthinkable, but I know people are suffering through this all over the world. But Levi Wright's mom posts heartfelt parenting advice 1 month after his accident. She thanks him for, quote, teaching me so much. And this is from people.com. The 3-year-old died on June 2nd following several weeks in the hospital in critical condition. For those who haven't heard the story of Levi Wright's death yet, he is the late son of rodeo star Spencer Wright and his wife, Kallie Wright. So Kallie Wright is sharing her thoughts with fellow parents 1 month after her son Levi Wright was injured in an accident that led to his death. Levi, the 3-year-old son of Kallie and rodeo star Spencer Wright, died on June 2nd after he was removed from life support. He was hospitalized in critical condition weeks earlier on May 21st after driving his toy tractor into a Utah river. Kallie, who is also mom to daughters Steely and Bray Milo, began her message, which she shared in a June 21st Facebook post. 1 month ago, our lives changed forever. She wrote that she has a lot still left to say, but at least for now wanted to share some parenting advice and thoughts from someone who has really thought about these things lately. So for her first message to others, she wrote, "Don't just take your kids to do fun things. Do those fun things with them. Get in the pool, get on the swing, go down the slide, run through the sprinklers, sled down the hill, etc. You get the idea. Think back to when you were a kid," she continued. "What do you remember more, your materialist gifts or your memories and experiences? This is one thing I feel like we have done really good with our kids, and I'm proud of that now more than ever." Kallie's second piece of advice was to get professional family photos taken more often. "Kids grow way too fast and things are always changing," she wrote. "I wanted to wait until I lost the baby weight and this and that, and now the only really good pics I have are from Bray's newborn sessions, and his dad wasn't able to be there. I wish I had done some this spring." Next, she reflected that everything, and I mean everything, is fixable and replaceable, so don't make mountains out of molehills, she wrote. "I have a throw pillow on my couch with little slits of when Levi got a hold of scissors. Little Easter bunny stamps on my wall in the playroom," she continued. "I realize now I definitely overreacted and I could have talked to him about it without being mad and frustrated. Seriously, kids will do stuff like that and it doesn't matter," she added. "Yes, they need to learn, but we don't need to let it bother us so much or make it a bigger deal than it is, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal." And finally, Kallie shared something she used to hate until she realized just how true it is. "Laundry, dishes, house cleaning, it can all wait," she wrote. "Fine balance. I'm still working on this one," she added before finishing her post with a sweet message for her late toddler. "Thanks for being my adventure buddy, Levi, and for teaching me so much," she wrote. "I miss you and love you."
I had to mute myself through that because, like,
I
literally, I was
know.
like so choked up, and I felt like people were gonna just hear me like snorting and like
I
crying in the
know.
background. Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
I've
obviously, like, she has a lot to say, but she's had a long time to process, like, May 21st and, like, the everyday nightmare. She's been processing this. But sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say I've been seeing this pop up on my socials all like for the past obviously a few months, and just like you, I have a hard time reading this kind of stuff, and it's just been like I've been following the story and it's just been devastating because it's like they fought so hard and he was hanging on, and like I remember when I first read the post, it was like he's gonna be okay, and then it was like, and then it just like all the updates just kept coming back and it wasn't good and it wasn't good. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's just, God, it's just like every parent's worst nightmare. Like I can't even imagine.
No, I know. I mean, I can't imagine. And I read another article because I didn't really, like, since I had clicked out when it first happened, I didn't know the exact story. And I was like, well, I need to kind of know a little bit. But I guess he had wanted to take his toy tractor out and his mom let him
it like
go.
one of those like Power Wheel kind of thing?
Yeah, it's one that they can like ride. And so she let him go, but she said, "Don't go near the river because your grandmother isn't home." So you need to just keep it in the grass is basically what she had told him. I guess he didn't stay away from the river and he ended up in the river on his tractor. So I don't know the full story. That's just basically all I could muster to read because it's just so awful. You know, Annabelle is 3 right now too. So it's like every little thing. It's like there's so much you want to trust them for because they have a head on their shoulders and they know what you're saying when you're saying it. So it's like really hard because now, like, especially because I read the full thing the other day. I'm like, okay, well, we can't trust her. Like, we can't actually trust her to like not do it just because we said it, you know? So it's like,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really good reminder. I mean, this is not at the same level at all, but this morning I had like a little reminder. It's like, you know, sometimes Hayden, he's not even 2. And sometimes he just like he's just so smart. And sometimes he just acts like this like little baby teenager that like understands what I'm saying, listens to what I say. And so like, I sometimes assume that he understands things more than I think he does.
Yeah.
And then it's like, maybe he does understand, but he's a baby and they're going to push boundaries. They're going to try. They're going to be like, well, they're just being paranoid. They're just being whatever, you know, and they're just going to do it. It's how they learn. And it's like, it's up to us to assume. And like you said, it's hard to find that balance because you want to trust them. You want to give them a little bit of rope. You want to give them a little bit of leeway to learn and live. But it's like, at what point?
Right. When it's actually life or death.
Yeah. It's like
That's
you
the
also
part.
have to take precautions as well. And it's just, it's such a, oh my God, my heart just breaks. It's just like, I couldn't even imagine. Like,
I know.
shit.
I feel like her advice is so true and it's such a good reminder because when, you know, when our kids are little, like little enough to play, like little enough to be like infants, but old enough to play, it's really easy for us to really, really cherish every moment and like be down on the floor. I know I was always down on the floor with Annabelle and I made it a point to. And now that she's older and she can understand, okay, like mommy needs to do dishes, mommy needs to do laundry, mommy needs to do blah, 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 blah. Like I can let her free play a little bit more. But when she asks me to play, I try to do it at least once, but I could do it more. You know, I mean, she asks all the time for me to play. So I feel like this has made me a little bit more aware of like how much I'm letting her spend time playing by herself and just, okay, maybe I really need to get in there a little bit more like I used to because for them, that's everything. Like play is a baby and toddler's love language. And I'm already, you know how I am about photos. Like I can't, like every opportunity to take a photo or a video of Annabelle. And I'm always like, take pictures of me with Annabelle with Mike everywhere we go.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, my phone is full of videos and photos of Annabelle and Mike, but
I know that's like one thing that I was really like, you know, trying to be good about is like doing yearly family photos. And it's like for this reason, I don't want Hayden to ever look back and be like, you know, because it's like I don't have any family photos growing up. Like I have photos of me,
I know.
school photos, but I don't think I have a single family photo.
Right.
I don't have a single one. And not until I'm an adult, like later in life where it's like I can demand them, but I don't have any from growing up.
Right.
You know, and I don't want that. Like I want Hayden to have all of that. So it's just, that's great advice. It's beautiful advice. And yeah, my heart just breaks for them. I can't even imagine.
I know. And even with 4-year-olds too, I have a family member who just went through something super tragic, like a close family member who just went something, like he could have, like this child could have died easily. You know, like the little tiny bead magnets. So they actually asked me to mention this on the podcast a while ago, but I couldn't process it. Like I couldn't talk about it without losing my mind. But they were like, you need to call this out as a warning to parents. But like, you know, the little tiny bead magnets, they sell them for like 14 and up, age 14 and up to like make little bracelets or necklaces, or you can make pretty much like anything. I'm sure they have design. Little
circles.
Right.
It's like a little cube of tiny little, like bead magnets. Yeah.
So this little one in our family, someone got them for him because they felt like he was old enough to understand, like we don't eat them, we don't, you know, put them in our mouth or whatever. And so he understood. Like he would sometimes, I guess, put them in his mouth and like run around and be like, ha ha ha, like I know I'm not supposed to do this, but like I'm doing it anyway. But he would like know he wasn't supposed to swallow them. So they would see him do this, they would yell at him or whatever, and he would laugh and like take them out. So they thought, you know, he fully understands like I'm joking. This is a joke. It's not actually happening. It's not a real thing. Well, all of a sudden he like started getting sick in the middle of the night, every night. And he was like pretty much fine during the day. But it went on for like 2 months. They would bring him to the doctor. They would bring him to the emergency room sometimes, and nobody knew what was wrong. They couldn't figure it out. And finally, it was getting a little bit worse. And the last trip to the emergency room, they demanded an x-ray of his stomach, and they found 40 of the tiny little magnetic beads in his stomach, and they were all like wrapped up. They were all in there, and they ended up at Boston Children's Hospital for 2 weeks. He had to have a surgery and have them removed. Some like did end up wrapping into his intestines, but we're very lucky and he is okay, and he's made a full recovery as far as we can tell. Everything's okay. Obviously they're still like cautious and making sure that everything's really okay, but yeah, so the magnetic beads, any magnets in general, should just kind of be kept away from kids, because if they're small enough for them to swallow and they look delicious like they probably will swallow them, or just assume that they will, because magnets are extremely dangerous and they cause holes in the stomachs and holes in the intestines, and that is obviously deadly. So
I think this is also like a good, you know, it definitely goes along with this story, of course, of like,
yeah,
like, yes, you can trust them, but at the end of the day, they're kids.
right,
But also too, it's a really good lesson to advocate for yourself.
right.
The fact that she demanded, like, first of all, it's really shitty that like she had to be in the position to demand. Like the doctor should have just automatically opted to do that.
Right. After 2 months of not knowing what's going on.
Times.
Yeah.
Like clearly something is wrong. Clearly
Right.
something is being missed. Do not send them home.
Right.
And the fact that she demanded, like, you know, good for her. And it's like your mom guilt, not mom guilt, sorry. Use like your mom gut, right? Like your mom gut instincts are usually spot on.
Right.
And so
exactly.
her intuition, her mom gut told her like, no, there's something going on here. You are going to check this. We are not leaving. And so absolutely advocate for yourself. And if you feel that there's something bigger going on, definitely push, definitely get a second opinion. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, yes, like doctors are doctors, but they don't always make the best calls. So, you know,
when we were at Annabelle's, I know when we were at Annabelle's last wellness checkup, she told the doctor that he swallowed beads and he was sick and he had to be in the hospital. And so the doctor asked me the story, and I was telling her the story, and I was like, he was sick for 2 months and they didn't think to do x-rays or anything. And she looked at me and she was just like, well, why would they? And I was like,
what do you mean? Why would they? What are you talking about?
Right.
What was her reasoning for like, why would they?
I don't know. At that point, I was like, you know how you get like speechless sometimes, and when something just seems like that strange.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm so confused by what the hell is going on right now.
Yeah.
Why would they?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I know.
If a child is getting sick, clearly there's something going on with digestive issues.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't.
Yeah.
I literally can't.
I know. Well, now we do know. Like, we will definitely, if God forbid our kids are like chronically ill for any reason and nobody can figure it out, definitely I will be asking for an x-ray of wherever the area is.
Yeah. Like, figure this out.
Yeah. So anyways, we've gone on a long rant, but since we had a toddler death conversation, I figured this is something that we needed to talk about, because it's been long enough now to where I'm not losing it every time I try to talk about it. So
yeah, and he's great. He's thriving. He's doing amazing. He has an amazing recovery. It's just nothing is going to take that child down.
No, thank God.
Okay, so moving on to something a little controversial.
Yeah.
Because I kind of see both sides of this. So,
yeah.
Man refusing to swap seat with pregnant woman on a 12-hour flight is backed. Newsweek.com. A man who refused to give up his seat to a pregnant woman for a 12-hour flight has been backed for his decision after taking to the internet for advice. The 28-year-old took to Reddit's Am I the Asshole on June 27, where he explained that as a 6'4" tall man, he paid for a seat with extra room for his long journey from New York City to Hawaii. But just before takeoff, he wrote, he was asked by the flight attendant if he would be willing to switch seats with a woman who was visibly pregnant. Despite being offered a refund for the difference in cost for the comfort seat, the man politely declined, and no other passengers with extra room volunteered. He began feeling guilty and asked in his post, which has racked up to 15,000 upvotes, if he was in the wrong for refusing to swap his seat. And Newsweek spoke to Joe Hayes, founder of etiquetteexpert.org, who admitted that even as an expert, this is not an easy situation to call. While she would usually advocate for the needs of a pregnant woman, particularly in summer and on a long-haul flight, in this situation, she's leaning in favor of the man. Because of his height, I can't understand how uncomfortable a long-haul flight would be for him in a regular economy seat, she said. He had the foresight to book well in advance and pay for a good seat that would allow him a bit more comfort. The pregnant woman could have done the same. Hayes added that it was not fair for the woman to expect someone else to give up their specially booked seat, particularly someone who had clearly needed the extra space, just because she failed to make a wise decision ahead of time. While in most circumstances, decency would dictate giving priority and extra grace to people in need, when people fail to make these decisions, it's not fair to expect other people to accommodate their lack of prudence. In this situation, simply offering the man reimbursement for the cost of his comfort seat is not sufficient recompense for him to give up his seat, she said. Reddit users were in complete agreement with over 7,000 comments on the post, many saying the same thing. I fly all the time, and so many people try to scam seats that I have no compassion anymore, one person admitted. You paid for the seat and she paid for hers, another said. She could have booked a different class if she wanted to. Most likely, she knew she would be this pregnant when she booked the flight. One recalled flying several times when they were heavily pregnant and said, "Never have I asked someone to give up their seat for me. Her ask is appalling." And one user joked the man was in the wrong only for still thinking about this and not enjoying your vacation. So if this was just like a quick train ride or like, you know, like taking the T in Boston and she was standing and a man is sitting, then I'd be like, you're being a dick. Get up, let her sit. But this is like not that situation. I'm in support of him. I mean, I feel like, yeah. And also like, why did he have to be the one to ask, not the others, people with like the extra leg room? Maybe they were asked. I don't know. But I don't think he's in the wrong. I don't think he did anything wrong. And I think that put him in a really uncomfortable position. And she could have easily like booked in advance and figured that out. Like, that's not fair at all.
Since he's tall, I would like to think that other people were asked as well. And he mentioned like no one else volunteered just because, but I feel like this has become a thing lately. This has become a topic of conversation because so many people are booking a lower class and then figuring out a reason to try to get into. So I feel like if you're that pregnant and you know this is all going on and it's a legit ask, then just book that extra like space seat. Just do it so that you're not one of those people, because that's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. I would feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I would too. And it makes me wonder, and again, like we don't know the whole story. It's like, did she ask the flight attendant to be upgraded, or did she book late and they didn't have any big other seats, and so they were going to see if they can get someone to swap? Did the flight attendant take it upon herself to see if somebody would swap for her? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, I have a lot of questions, but I don't think the man's in the wrong whatsoever. Like, that is just
I think
not fair.
Yeah, no, definitely on, like you said, a bus, a train, things where you're not buying a special seat, special accommodation, and this woman is standing for sure. Even like for elderly, for pregnant people, for anyone who needs the seat when you clearly don't. Yes, I would say like that would be a thing, but this is not.
No, it's not a thing. He is not in the wrong. You are not the asshole. She is.
Right. Yes. So this next story It's so sweet. Such a motherhood story. So, Matron-of-Honor gives birth and misses best friend's wedding. Then the bride surprises her in the hospital from people.com. So, Georgia bride Ariel Deniergard gave her best friend and matron-of-honor Christine West an emotional surprise after West gave birth and missed her wedding. One matron-of-honor wasn't able to make it to her best friend's wedding after she gave birth, but the pair still managed to celebrate the milestones together thanks to the bride's thoughtful surprise. In a heartwarming story shared with Good Morning America on June 20th, Ariel opened up about how she visited her best friend Christine West on the morning of her wedding, just days after West gave birth. Ariel had been West's maid of honor, so West was ready to return the favor. Me being the maid of honor for her and doing those duties was something that I really, really wanted to do, West said. The women had been close friends since the first grade. Not long after West accepted her important role, West found out that she was pregnant and due 2 days before Ariel's June 8th wedding date. So West soon realized with the baby arriving so close to her best friend's wedding, she would unlikely be able to make it. However, she made sure that West was still part of her wedding day. She is my best friend and my sister and soulmate. I just couldn't imagine not sharing that moment with her, Ariel told GMA, adding, and just because there was a way to make it happen too, I was just like, let's do this. West had given birth to her son the night before the wedding, and with West's husband Chandler's permission, Ariel arranged for a special surprise. After hair and makeup, the bride and photographer drove 40 minutes to the hospital where West was and surprised her in her wedding gown with flowers in hand. The emotional moment was caught on video, now a viral Instagram reel. Though West said she was shell-shocked when her best friend walked through the door, she couldn't have been happier with the surprise visit. The thought of her thinking to do that was just absolutely beautiful, West said. It just shows how selfish she is as a person, who she is to her core, and how important our relationship is, she continued, noting for her to genuinely have taken time away from her literal wedding to come and see me in the hospital bed. The video, I watched it, it made me cry, and I'm going to put it in the show notes, but it was just so sweet.
It was really sweet. That I would like to think that any of you bitches would do that for me. I know I would do it for any of you bitches.
Right, but
that is so cute.
I think it's really cute. And even though the woman had just given birth and everything, she still looked really good. Like, she was really put together. Like, she was in her little matching pajama set, and
Do you think she was tipped off? Do you think she knew?
Well, she definitely didn't have any makeup on or anything, but she wasn't if you had done that to me and it had gone viral, I might have.
You would have been so pissed. You know what I would have done? I would have told Mike that a photographer's coming to do photos.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that way you would get your shit together and not look like that. And then
she
that
definitely
way you'd
had
put together, you'd feel good.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened that day. Maybe that's what happened, because she looked put together. She definitely didn't have her makeup on or anything, but she was decent.
Yeah, maybe they were like, well, people are coming, so make yourself look okay.
Right. Yeah,
because that's one thing I remember. I literally made sure that even though I was clearly so swollen and bloated and my face was all red and I just looked like a giant tomato, I still made sure my hair was okay, my skin looked okay, I had at least mascara on, I wasn't looking so crazy, because I was just I knew people coming in, they were going to get the photos, even as much as I didn't want photos of myself, I knew it was going to happen. So, and I didn't want to look back and be like, what the hell, did Jabba the Hutt just give birth? Jesus.
Who did you guys have visit you at the hospital?
So my mother-in-law came, father-in-law came, sister-in-law and brother-in-law came. I felt bad when they came, though, because they came right when they decided to take Hayden back to get circumcised. And so they didn't even get to see him.
Oh, no.
He was gone for a while. I was like, are you kidding? I was like, can you do this later? Nope, we're doing it now. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh my,
so it was awful. I felt so bad. And then one of my friends came, Gabe came in the evening on one of the days. I don't know. So just
it's all a blur.
Family. Yeah, it honestly is a blur. The meds are awesome. Epidural, I'll tell you what, I will buy that on the black market. I will take that whenever. I didn't like the giant needle, but the effects were really nice.
No, the COVID restrictions for the hospital weren't lifted until the day that we left the hospital. So we
Oh, that's
just naturally
right.
just didn't even talk about it with our family. And so we just had like the days to ourselves. So I didn't put myself together, and I had opted not to do the photography in the hospital because I thought like I was going to do it myself.
So, okay, I actually have like a funny story before we go into the next topic about the photography in the hospital. So, we kind of got bamboozled a little bit. We didn't know it was happening when it was happening. They told us, so Adam, I don't know when this all happened. I was showering, I was getting myself ready, and somebody went over to Adam and asked him if they could take photos of Hayden for like their hospital because they had like a whole new maternity wing or a whole new birthing center is what it was. And so they wanted to take photos of Hayden and use photos of Hayden in their brochure. And we're like, oh my God, his first modeling gig. This is so cool. And so they gave us this little onesie that said Baylor Health on it and this little like hat and also said Baylor. And they were going to have him in this like cute little outfit. So we were getting ready. I showered. I was doing my hair. We were getting ready for them to come. They said that somebody will come in and take photos. And we're like, okay, great. And so this woman comes in and we had him in that like outfit. And she asks if we have like what swaddles we have for him, if we have like little like name sign. We're like, yeah, okay. And we're confused because I'm like, I don't know that I want all of his information in the pamphlet, but that's weird. And so I pulled out a swaddle. She put the swaddle on him and she's like, okay, mom, on down, just hold him like this. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be in the photo. She's like, oh no, you look gorgeous. You're going to be great. And I'm like, I don't want to be in the photo. This is supposed to just be him. Like, this is him. And she's just like, no, like hold him now. And it was halfway through the photos that all of a sudden we realized we're like, so is this going to be for the pamphlet? She's like, huh? She's like, no, I'm going to give you a card with all the photos on it. And we're like, what are you talking? No, like this is for, she was a separate photographer. So she came by around that same time.
Oh my God.
We were waiting for Baylor's photographer to come take photos of Hayden for his little modeling shoot. This bitch comes in to sell us her photos.
Oh no.
And we didn't know.
Yeah.
And so we went with it thinking that this, and then we especially like, oh, we thought this is what it was. Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, at that point she'd already taken photos. Obviously we want to see them.
Yeah.
I fucking look awful. I hated how I looked. Hayden's adorable, of course. But I was just like, and then I guess during that time, because they saw that this was happening, they like went to a different room. So then he missed his modeling gig.
Oh my God.
Came in and took over the shoot. It was awful. It was just like, we legit got bamboozled into these photos.
Oh, that's
like,
awful. Yeah.
So
I would want to know, like, that is confusing. Like, I would want to know that's obviously what was happening.
And then she made this like fucking, so she's in the hallway and she's like editing this like video. She's like, I'm putting together a video. I was like, a video? She's like, it's a slideshow. She's like, there's music. It's going to be great. So she like comes in and she like plays this. I need to find it and show it to you. She plays this like slideshow and it's literally just like these horrible photos of me with like 5 million chins, bright red. Like Adam doesn't look that cute either. Like we're both just like exhausted because we weren't ready to be like photographed ourselves.
Right.
And it's this like fucking music from like the 80s of like slow. I don't even remember what song it is, but it's like a horrible song. And
oh no.
Like, art is like
on
like these like butterflies and like weird.
Oh like, no.
And it's just like she's just like so proud, like smiling as she's showing us her laptop with this presentation she created. And Adam and I are like, oh, okay. And she's like, so you know, here's the different packages. And this bitch is trying to sell us these photos. And Adam's like, he like chooses like a few of like Hayden. She's just like, she's trying to sell us this like, she's like, do you also want to buy the slideshow? And we're like, just
no,
photos.
Thank you. We're good.
She's just like, oh, well, she literally ended up sending us the slideshow for free.
Stop it.
We're like, we don't need that. Thank you.
Oh, that's so sad. She was so proud of her work.
She was so proud of it, but it was like really uncomfortable. Anyway, moving on. How Mindy Kaling kept her third pregnancy a secret from people.com. The Office alum, who's 45, quietly welcomed her third baby earlier this year, prompting fans to wonder how she kept this news hidden. Following the surprising news that Mindy Kaling quietly welcomed her third baby earlier this year, fans were left speculating how the actress kept her pregnancy hidden for 9 months. While the Office alum often kept her 2 other kids, daughter Catherine, Kit, 6, I love Kit, and son Spencer, 3, off social media, many were impressed that Kaling seemingly gave no impressions that she was expecting her third baby. How does one have 3 whole children without being seen in public pregnant? One person wrote on Kaling's Instagram. Queen of secretly giving birth, another said. Kaling, who announced on Instagram on Monday, June 24th, that she welcomed her daughter Anne in late February, shared many photos of her on Instagram over the last 14 months, never once revealing that she was expecting. Last June, Kaling shared photos of her swimsuit campaign with Andy Swim, posing in a yellow one-piece in the ocean and later in a 2-piece in a swimming pool.
So clearly nobody knew she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Don't know. I don't know. I was looking at all these photos and she does not look pregnant at all.
Mm-mm. She's absolutely hilarious. Part of me wonders if she did this as a joke to like fuck with her fans.
Yeah.
What if it was a surrogate? Did she for sure like give birth, or what if it was like a...
So everybody says that she's like this huge advocate for egg donorship. So I'm not sure. It might be like egg donor. No idea. But she was pregnant.
45. She could be
so
hers.
she definitely carried the baby, because in like the fall and winter there aren't really any pictures of her, except like she starts to wear like looser clothing, like layers, and definitely things where you can't see her stomach. And like I was looking at a couple of her Instagram posts, and like her stance almost looks like she's like she would be waddling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're
kind of propped, you're kind of leaning to the side.
Yeah.
You're like all like, yeah.
Like her shirt is beyond big enough to hide a baby and of that, gestational age, and she's like in that pregnancy stance. So I feel like she was definitely the one that carried it, but it was most likely an egg donor, and I'm not sure, but there was like hints of that in some of the articles just because she's a huge advocate for it. So
that's so fun. Congratulations, Mindy.
I know. Okay, so she gave birth in February and people are just now finding out about it at the end of June.
So she literally has a whole 4-month-old child that nobody knows about.
Right. Here's our baby. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world.
This goes along with like what we were talking about like a few episodes back, where you like surprise people, like the surprise birth.
What's it called?
That's why I was wondering if like maybe because she's a comedian, if this was like actually just like a joke. That she was like,
right.
She was not. It's not a joke. She is truly as a kid, but like she did it like this to mess with her fans. But
right.
I'm also like making it about us, and truly she probably just wanted to keep the moment special and close to herself
until she couldn't anymore. There's probably a reason why she finally shared it. I can't remember. I feel like there was a reason. I don't know. But anyway.
If I were to ever have another baby, I feel like I would literally not tell. I mean, I would tell like Eo, but I feel like I wouldn't really tell anybody. I would literally just like go off the radar when I got like really big for a while.
There would be signs. In videos, she would be eating ice cream. There would be no happy hour anymore.
No.
There would be no coffee. We would have to come up with a whole new segment of the show.
But like, I don't know, just to see people's reaction and just like pull this child out of nowhere. Like I just start showing up to family functions with a child. Like I feel like that would be so hilarious.
Just like,
and just like, even anything. Like also like mess with people as if like like went ahead, had this child, didn't tell anybody, and then like literally like was pissed off that no one threw me like a baby shower or anything. We're like, what the fuck? Not that you get a baby shower for your second one, but just acted like appalled that like
how could you have not done this for me? Where's my sprinkle party? Where is it?
How dare you not congratulate me? Gaslight everybody.
Oh my god.
So
that would be freaking hilarious.
My twisted mind.
Well, that's technically all we have for you today. Do you have a motherhood story or video you want to share? We want to see your best ones, so send them to hello@geriatricmamas.com or geriatricmamas.com and click send us your story. they could be shared on our next episode. Reminder, Geriatric Mamas listeners get 20% off services at Ageless Medical Aesthetics in Westbrook, Maine with the code MAMAS2024 and a free first swim class at Goldfish Swim School in Portland, Maine with the same code MAMAS2024. You'll just need to call them to schedule your child's first visit.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to tune in next week. Follow, subscribe, rate, and review. Tell a friend. We need everyone's support.
All of your support, please. I almost didn't jump onto that because my internet almost went down again. And then I was like, oh, she came back at just the right time.
Sonia needs a whole on lifeline.
Yeah, I need all of your support. For more info, you can check out our website at geriatricmamas.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at geriatric_mamas, on YouTube at geriatric mamas, Twitter at geriatric mamas, and follow our group page on Facebook, Geriatric Mamas. Oh, and one more. We have TikTok at geriatric_mamas.
I was like, she's like trying to avoid that one.
Yeah. Why did I put it on the end? Why did I put it on the end?
Probably because you were dreading saying it. You're like, oh God, TikTok.
If I have to.
If you have a topic idea you'd like us to discuss, are interested in being a guest, or simply have a funny geriatric story to tell, you can go to geriatricmamas.com and hit be a guest or send us your story.